Hey, hello, people. Welcome. Hello from both myself and Sully. Hope everybody has been doing so well. I have been MIA again because I am taking my final class for my degree in cybersecurity right now, and it is a math class. Literally, I'm not exaggerating when I say this is my worst nightmare to have to not just make it through this class, but pass. But pass. I am currently passing, but it has been a struggle. I have been fully crashing out at least twice a week over it. So, recording and the shop has been on the back burner right now, but I've got like 1 month left, and it feels like things are winding down just a little bit, just a little bit. So, I don't feel as overwhelmed, and like my brain pressure is like way too much for my skull to hold in. So today I just kind of felt like turning on the camera and recording and talking about a few plants that I am really proud of right now. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Sully is like, can you see him? He is obsessed with the lizards outside because last year somehow a lizard got inside and it was like under my plant cabinets, and he realized that it was in the house, so now he's like waiting for them to somehow come back inside, and he just loves going outside and chase. Ooh, I am changing all kinds of settings right now. Anyway, so as plant collectors, growers, gardeners, blah blah, there are the plants that we really love, and then there are the plants that are growing well, and there's an overlap, but I feel like we tend to like the rare. A lot of us, especially after you've been collecting for a long time, kind of tend to go towards the rare and a little more difficult to grow plants. We like them when they're a little hard to get. You got to work for the good growth. When you've been growing for so long, you need a little bit of a challenge sometimes. But today, we're just going to talk about the ones that are growing really well, that I feel proud, like accomplished to get to the place that they are today, and that they aren't like scraggly and crusty and having a hard time. Sully, you cannot have the lizards. You cannot have. No. 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 Anyway, this intro is a mess. We're talking about the plants that look good right now. Okay, let's go. Also, I forgot that I did want to mention that I am going to be trying to restock the site next week. I do not know the exact day because I think I've got a math test next week, so it's probably gonna be later in the week for me to have the mental capacity to like take photos and upload everything. I will post on my Instagram when the restock is going to be. So if you want to follow me over at Instagram at Leaves with Less, you will see that update. And also on the website, which is shadowindspace.com, all the information will be in the description as always. You can sign up for restock reminders. You can sign up for restock reminders, and I will send those out to you when the site's been restocked, so you'll know if you're interested. I will be releasing a few of my new Anthurium hybrid seedlings in that restock, probably like 10-ish, depending on what they look like. I'll show you at the end of the video, I'll show you what they look like right now if you're interested in those. They are still like 2 to 3 leaf seedlings, but just so you get an idea of what they look like if you've been waiting for those. I do have a few people that have been messaging me about them. So the first thing, let me get this guy out of the way. So I'm going to flip you around right here. The first thing I want to talk about, who I never really talk about that much on the channel, is my Monstera Thai constellation. She's getting so big. Look at how big. This is her new leaf. It is very soft. It has just unfurled. I love the combination of variegation on this plant. It has, in my opinion, very beautiful, perfect, balanced variegation where you have like some of the really nice sectoral stuff going on, a lot of the like minty, splashy constellation parts. Yeah, but you can see she's starting to get her inner fenestrations. This is the most inner fenestrations I've had so far on a leaf. So I'm hopefully this one will be pretty big. The last one had two fenestrations, but look at how big it's getting. I cannot believe how easy this one has been to grow because it's variegated, and a lot of my variegated Monstera have not been the easiest with browning and all of that. She does have some browning. Like she had a really nice half moon leaf over here, but she did get a little beat up when I was rearranging plants. I did run through that leaf several times, so it is a little beat up. The lower leaves do have some browning, but if I keep up with the watering and I give her enough light, it has not been so much of a problem. She's been doing pretty good. But yeah, so I'm very proud of her and her size. I recently moved her over here in front, like directly in front of my south facing window, which is opposite this plant now. And yeah, she is here for that. My Monstera Aurea, just a little update on these guys. This one I'm regrowing from cuttings, and I had a couple of cuttings already potted up, and they had a ton of roots, but they would not put out any leaves. So I unpotted it. One of the cuttings had no roots, so I just discarded that one because it was the stem part was rotting, so it probably wasn't going to grow any roots. And I replaced it with another cutting that I had. So we are up to like 3 cuttings in here. So hopefully at least 2 of these will take. One was growing, but it put out a stem with no, oh, you can't see that. A stem with no leaf. So hopefully a leaf will come out pretty soon. Like this is a little bit swollen. And I did just repot her and give her a bigger pot because she was a little root bound, even though she had no freaking leaves. She was not growing any leaves, but she was growing a lot of roots. We can talk about my Albo, who is, I have never had anywhere near this large before. Like this is not that big of a leaf. She is very white, which is somewhat concerning. This was, they call this like the white tiger variant, and I think that just means that it's like a highly variegated Albo, but it just looks like everything else to me, honestly, at this point. I mean, it does have a lot of white, but, and I have 2 cuttings in here. That is the, try not to damage this. Oh, it is damaged already a little. Oh well. That's the newest leaf on the other vine, and then she is putting out another leaf right now, but it does look mostly green, so that's a relief. But look how big and pretty she's getting. She's not browning. Really, she only starts browning when she's about to lose a leaf. I just repot her because I could not keep up with the watering because she was so root bound. And yeah, hopefully she will start sizing up a little bit more. Her leaves are pretty small still. Okay, the lighting is not going to be the best for like 5 seconds, but I have to put you up high to show you the next plant that I'm going to talk about because it is very large. This is one that I've talked about a lot, like a lot. This is my Philodendron Weeks Red. It is very large. It is large and in charge and has been such an easy, beautiful philodendron. I love the leaf shape. I love that she's perfectly fine growing totally in one direction. So we don't have like helicopter petioles going on. And she's got, so like I said, beautiful leaf shape, serrated, cool looking, amazing. It is just plain green on the front. However, the back, I don't know how well you can see this on the camera. Maybe you can see a little bit there. The back has got this really pretty like brush stroke red and green. Maybe you can see it on that one. And the leaves come out very red. That is the newest leaf that just emerged. And she's got really red petioles up at the top of the stem. And then the stems on the other leaves, the older leaves, they have these cool little like red polka dots, which I think is really cute. And I just love a big philodendron that's like easygoing, not fussy, totally chill, looks great. I've had her in many different lighting conditions, and she really has not been that fussy. Like she's grown everywhere I put her, even when she was on top of one of my like my Hoya cabinet over here that does not get very much light at the very top. She was still growing and putting out decently sized leaves. I have moved her kind of more near my south facing window, but that is just because it is so large and I'm running out of space. Okay, I think the lighting is a little better over here. So this is a bird's nest anthurium. This is the Anthurium hookeri, and it is the variegated version. This one I love because if you give it really, really high light, it will actually sun stress this kind of pink color. If you can see that, it's kind of like a muted, dusty pink. And when the new leaves come out, they don't have as much of that pink coloration to them. They're more of a whitey cream color. And the longer it's in sunlight, the more pink it gets. But I love that it's not a super bright, stark white variegation. It's kind of this tannish, creamy variegation. And oh my gosh, like the variegation pattern and all those different shades of green and pink and tan. So beautiful. And this one, they have a bunch of different variants of this with different variegation patterns and stuff. And to me, this one's kind of unique in that I haven't really seen this exact variegation pattern on many other specimens, or that kind of like tannish to pink variegation. Yes, I love this one. Very proud at how big her leaves have gotten growing indoors, because typically these are the type that love to be outside in a whole lot of sunlight. And she's actually flowering for me right now. So I'm going to collect this pollen and try to put it on something else at some point, probably, because I would love to repeat this variegation, especially if I could get it to work with something velvety. Like, that would be the bomb.com. Okay, the next one is not quite as much of a showstopper, but I am incredibly proud of it because when I bought this, it's a philodendron. It was a very small baby plant. It was grown from cutting. And I did not realize at that time that it had been grown in a prop box. So I was like immediately trying to acclimate it to room humidity, and it was just very upset with me. It did not like the potting media I had it in. I had it in soil. I tried it in pond, tried it in moss, and it finally started rooting in moss. And then I mixed it up in my like moss, like tree fern orchid bark mix. And it has really, really liked that. And it is my philodendron Spiritus Sancti. And I'm so excited because she just put out a new leaf. Do you see this over here? And look at how big it is. Okay, this is big in context to the previous leaves that she had. Previously, this was the largest leaf that she had put out, which was a huge size jump over her other leaves over here. And I did put her on a moss pole, like I had been saying, and she is rooting in here. You see we got some healthy roots, and she has got a really big, fat, healthy root that she's put out right down here since I have repot her. I put her in a little bit of a larger pot with the moss pole at the same time. And I had heard, I mentioned this before, but I'd heard, I think it was Charmaine at Unplant Parenthood talking about how there were like two versions of the Spiritus Sancti, and like one was tissue culture, one was like the original form or whatever. And I think that's what this one is, because the backs of the leaves stay really, really red, and the petiole and the vein stays really red. So that was the previous leaf. And these are the older leaves here at the bottom. That is the oldest leaf. So it has lost some of the red near the bottom. But all the other leaves stay pretty red on the back with that super red vein and petiole. So I don't know, like I've not done any research on that, but that is just something that I had heard. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, this new leaf, it has just unfurled, or has just come out of the caterpillar. And look at how big it is. Of course, it's going to size up a little bit more, and I can't wait for that. And she's just been taking so well to the moss pole. So I think she's going to continue to size up. And I just can't wait until I get, like, you know, the iconic Spiritus Sancti with those big, long, sharply eared leaves. That is going to be the best day ever. I do want to take a second and talk about my Syngonium Chiapence, who is growing so crazy. Do you see how big this thing is? Look at all these dang leaves. Of course, this is several cuttings. I think I've got like 3 or 4 main vines over here. And I chopped it several times because I was trying to get the variegation to come back, because she loves to revert. She is a reversion girly, let me tell you that. But some of these new leaves that are coming in look really good. So that is pretty cool. Some of them are like more low variegation, especially the lower ones that are not getting quite as much light, I guess. But she still looks great. She's super full. The Syngonium Chiapence, even the non-variegated version, I love it. Like, I love the leaf shape, the texture. It's pretty easy to care for. Now, you do have to worry about it reverting if you want a really variegated one, but it's pretty easy to keep happy. I keep it on my normal like Vitso shelf over here, and it gets some natural light, some light from the grow lights, not like super intensely bright light, but fairly bright light. And she is in between 2 humidifiers. The humidity in this room does stay pretty good. So I'm sure that contributes to how nicely she's growing. But she has just gotten so big, and I had to put her on this absurdly long bamboo garden stakes. Like, you know, the full length bamboo garden stakes that you get at Home Depot that are like 5 feet tall. That is what I have had to rig her up with, because she just keeps growing. I keep chopping her back, and then she'll spurt out another growth point in like 5 seconds and start growing again. And I have another 2 vines that are coming off of the moss pole, the stake that I'm gonna have to resecure at some point. But I did want to mention her because she looks great. She looks great in her little spot over at the window. She's tall, she's full, she's lush, has some variegation, some higher variegation in some spots, some lower variegation in other spots, some spots that are all green. And I kind of like the mix. You know, you get a little pop of white here and there. And yeah, I think she is just going to be up at the top of this pole in no time. And I probably need to repot her soon because she dries out every 5 seconds. Okay, so we are talking about this bad boy right here in the middle. This is my Epiprimnum pinnatum tricolor mint, although the newer leaves here towards the top are significantly less variegated. But look at how big this guy has gotten. Let me tell you, the Epiprimnum pinnatum, I think, looks so good when it gets really big and starts fenestrating. You can even see she's got all the little fenestrations in the middle towards that central vein. But it looks so good. Such a fast grower, sizes up super well. I'm going to have to do a chop and extend at some point because she is just all the, look at that tiny, tiny little pot that she's in for all of this plant. And she's only got 2 vines in here. I tried to put a third cutting, but yeah, I don't think that one is going to work out. This is the newest leaf. If you can see how big that is, like holy moly. Her previous leaf. My dream at some point would be, I took some cuttings of my Epiprimnum pinnatum albo, and I would love to have both the albo and this one both growing up a moss pole and really big and pretty like that. So that is probably going to be the next thing that I'm working on with this guy once those cuttings get rooted. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about that I'm really proud of is how this Philodendron gloriosum is growing. I have it in a hanging planter on the wall, and it is a crawler. I'm just letting her crawl over the side of it, and eventually she'll be hanging down again. I repotted her, and she was crawling out on this side, but then I turned it. So now she's like crawling up the other side and is coming back over the top, but she will be growing downwards at some point. I'm going to take her off the wall, but I just wanted you to see what she looked like while she was mounted. Okay, this is what she looks like off of the wall. See, she's not as striking if you see her just down here. And this leaf is growing a little wonky. We're just going to ignore her. But all the other leaves have turned to face that like forwards direction, which I love. And she has started sizing up just a little bit. I can't remember which variant this is, but it's the one that's really pink. I don't know if you can see the pink in the veins when it comes out. This is a brand new leaf. This is not nearly done hardening off. You can probably see it in the back, how pink it is. But she is so pretty. The gloriosum is just such a classic stunner. Like big velvety leaves. She is pretty dang easy. And this is the stem situation that I was talking about. If you can see what is going on here. So she has grown this way. And she was growing over the pot like this. I repot her. I tried to like twist her back a little bit. So now she's going backwards, but she realizes the light is in this direction. So now she's pushing her leaves this way. So I expect this is just going to come back over the top of this, which would be great because then it could reroot into the soil a little bit and hold it on a little bit more securely. I do have some of the like gardening stakes or whatever holding her stem towards the soil so she doesn't come falling out. Yeah, and I think hopefully she'll grow over the top of it back towards the light and hang over the other side. And my goal is for as long as this will be able to be fixed to the wall and not fall off, for her to just grow down, like hanging out of the pot and putting leaves off in every direction. And I am pretty confident that is going to work because she has already been doing that a little bit. And she seems super happy with the light levels where she's at. I mean, look at these leaves. That is just so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna talk about 2 more really quickly before my camera battery dies. This is my money tree. So this is my sport variegated money tree that I found at Lowe's. The only sport variegated plant that I've ever found in my years and years and years of plant shopping. This is the only one, so it's extra special. It does have the type of variegation that fades over time. So you can see towards the top here, these like ultra variegated leaves, it comes out really like aura-y and sectoral. And then over time, it just kind of like calms down and fades off to a standard green. I don't know if you can see on this leaf, but this one does have some variegation on it. It's just kind of hardened off to that green color. This one, man, the umbrella tree is just such a classic. Even the non-variegated version, I actually do not care for the one with like the super white variegation. I don't know why. I do not know why that does not appeal to me. But I think it's just such a classic. It looks so good. It has such a pretty leaf shape. It grows so nicely. And I feel like I've staked mine up because it was getting really, really big. It was like kind of like leaning over towards the light. But I feel like you could kind of shape these like with bonsai wire even maybe and make it look kind of like architectural and really stylish, you know, if you want like a statement plant. Also, it has been fine in pretty low light. I moved it closer to a grow light just because, again, it was getting too big. So I had to swap some plants out and put it closer towards the south facing window and the grow light that I have in this area because she's running out of space. I also love how on money trees they get the really cool like chonky stem at the bottom. And you can see she is like not in a very large pot to be growing like this. And it's just so full. Again, full, lush, beautiful, awesome variegation that fades down to green. Honestly, that probably helps with the overall health of the plant because it's able to get more chlorophyll once that variegation kind of dies down. But yeah, she has been a champ. She's had spider mites only one time when she was much smaller. Easily treatable, didn't come back. Knock on wood. Hopefully we'll not have to deal with that this year. Okay, and then the very last one that we're going to talk about briefly because she is very heavy and she's in this hanging planter and I don't want to crush any of her vines is my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. I personally think the outer variegated Carnosa is the best. It is so beautiful. You get so much variation in the amount of white that's on some of the leaves. Such an easy grower. I repot her not too long ago and she rewarded me with her first ever bloom. And of course, they have some of the prettiest blooms out there, pink, fuzzy, perfection. And they do, in fact, smell just like Tootsie Rolls. Even the portions of the leaves that have this, the portions of the plant that have these really white leaves, they last for so long. Like they'll start browning like months and months and months and months and months after they put the leaves out. So you actually get to enjoy the look of those really white leaves. If you can see towards the front, it's got some that are super white. But yeah, she is just the best. You can get her anywhere. They do have that variant that's like the flamingo whatever that comes out with like super pink new growth, which I love. But to me, Carnosa Crimson Queen, again, is a classic. So easy to find, so inexpensive, and they grow into just the most beautiful, easygoing, gorgeous plants with absolutely 10 out of 10 blooms. Okay, so that is going to be it for the plants that are just looking the best right now, who are really appreciating the spring, who have been growing wonderfully without any complaints for some time, which is why they look so good. At least the ones that are like really standing out to me right now. I mean, I do have obviously other plants that look pretty good, but those are just the ones that are really looking the best to me. I did want to really quickly mention my seedlings, not just for the fact, for those of you who have been interested in purchasing one, so you can kind of see what size we're looking at right now for when I'm going to be listing them in this next restock. But just because these, I mean, this is the thing that I'm the most proud of in the past like 6 months or so that I've been working on these. This is my first hybrid. I will put the parents both on the screen so you can see them. Mom is a crystallinum antiqua hybrid, so very dark, minimal veins, pink sinus. Dad is a Cunha red vein dark phoenix hybrid who crashed out as soon as I got him. He did come with a flower though, so I was able to harvest pollen off of him and pollinate Mom with it, and then now we have all of their cutesy little babies. However, I have no parent pics of Dad except for the one from where I purchased him on Palm Street. He was from Silver Chrome Gardens, and yeah, he was just absolutely phenomenal. He was a little bit mutated with some of that like kind of muted variegation as well. I don't know if and how that would translate to the seedlings at this point. None of them, from what my eyes can see, have shown signs of variegation, but you never know because Dad had that really muted variegation to it. However, you have a much lower chance of variegation when the dad is the only one that's variegated rather than when it's the mom. So I definitely would not expect any type of variegation out of these. It is still possible that there could be some somewhere in the batch, but it's probably, I would just assume no. So first of all, I have them growing under grow lights in their little seedling trays right now. I have got 4 of these seedling trays, so you can see how many are in there. I have plenty of plants. I am going to be hoarding them for the foreseeable future because this is my first hybrid. I want to see how they come out, and I want any like super duper cool ones to have the opportunity to keep those and grow them because these are my first babies, you know. But I do not feasibly have the space to keep almost 300 of these. So I will be periodically letting some go. I am going to go ahead and let maybe like 10, like I mentioned before, maybe like 10-ish go. I potted these up about 2 weeks ago at this point, and they are settling in really nicely. No signs of browning or anything like that. So they are little 2-leaf seedlings right now. I'm going to list them as grower's choice. So I'll just send out whichever ones look like the biggest and strongest to begin with. Like, for example, if this is another seedling from the batch, I would probably not send this one out just because it's so small in comparison to this one. It just looks a little bit more vigorous to me. So these would be essentially what you would be getting. And they all look like about that size, honestly. So you will get something very comparable to this. I'm honestly very surprised at how healthy and how well these took, because I lost maybe like 5 seeds out of that entire batch, and all of the other ones germinated, and they're all growing super duper well, not runty, looking great, which is just, this was not my expectation when it came to, you know, hybridizing. Like I knew you would get a lot of seeds, right? Like I was thinking like maybe like this would be a whole batch, not 4 trays of this. Yeah, so I was just, you know, not comprehending the scope of this at this point. So if you're interested in these guys, just give me a follow over at Instagram or sign up for the email reminders on the website, and you will get the notification when the restock goes live, and I will post about it on my Instagram as well. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this one. I hope everybody's having a super great start to spring and your plants are popping off and everything is growing wonderfully. And we will all have many cool updates to share in the coming months when things really start warming up, even though it is already getting like 85 degrees Fahrenheit here in Georgia and very humid. As always, I appreciate you so much for clicking on this video and hanging out with me for a little while. And if you're interested in more videos like this and you want to see more content like this from me, please please subscribe. It helps me and the channel so much. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.